On DC Music Rocks, we're shining a spotlight on the great songs, artists, and incredible people behind the DC region's local music scene. Chris Cassaday is a singer-songwriter from Arlington, Virginia, with a unique blend of blues, folk, and funk. His crafty songwriting style, his unpredictable set lists, and his thunderous, distinctive voice have captivated audiences in the DMV for a while. With 2 albums released, a song being played on SiriusXM Radio's The Coffee House, and a resume of hundreds of amazing performances under his belt, Chris is an awesome act, and I hope you get to see him live at some point. I first came across him doing this show, and I've been such a fan of his music, and now I actually get to have him here in the studio with me, and this is such a treat, man. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Now, talk about, so you're local to, you're born and raised in Virginia.
Yes, sir.
Wow. And so Great Falls and then into Arlington. Now, did you go away for school, or have you really been Virginia the whole time?
I don't know if I would call it going away. I went to JMU in Harrisonburg. It's it's a couple hours away. It's far enough where your parents can't bother you, but close enough where it's not a hike to get home. But,
Got it. So you've really been in the area for your whole life.
Yeah, pretty much. Always been around Virginia in some way, shape, or form.
Where and when? How did music start?
Well, my dad got me my first guitar when I was 14 years old. And I'd always been singing when I was a little kid, singing in the back seat. I had a really deep voice as a kid, and everyone used to make fun of me for it. My dad was like, you sounded like Rod Stewart when you were like 6 years old. But I was always singing. So he was finally like, he got me a guitar, and took lessons for a brief period, and it always just stuck with me. I loved it. And it kind of developed as I got older. I was in bands in high school. And when I went to college at JMU, I kind of got into the whole solo acoustic thing, just sitting in my dorm, strumming and writing down lyrics. Yeah. And I really fell in love with it.
And it's always been guitar or other instruments too?
I actually started on bass, was a bass player first.
Really?
Yeah, but was taking guitar lessons while I was playing bass in the band, and then we kind of did a whole switcheroo thing in my high school band where we got to play different instruments, so I was kind of learning 2 instruments at the same time.
So guitar and bass.
Yeah.
Wow. And what age was this again? When did that start?
That was like age 14 probably, yeah.
Got it. So high school is really when
high school, exactly.
The music education kicked in. Got it. Wow. So then what's your earliest memory with music? What comes to mind?
Oh man, my earliest memory with music is, oh boy, this is tough. Probably singing, God, I can't believe I'm saying this on the air. So I sang a Nickelback song in the 6th grade talent show. When I went to Forestville Elementary School in Great Falls.
Don't judge him. Don't judge him.
No judgment here, folks.
Yeah.
I sang How You Remind Me.
Oh, excellent.
Which was a good song at the time. I mean,
Oh, that was huge back then.
We played the karaoke track of that, and I sang it. And needless to say, I was a stud at my elementary school for the next few weeks.
Did you win? Did you win that?
It wasn't like it was just like everyone performance. There wasn't an
I
actual winner. Yeah, but
wow.
I think I won.
Oh, that's funny. All right, so you are secretly a Nickelback fan. We'll keep that a secret between us and whoever's listening. Now, what about your first? And that was your first memory, I guess, performing too.
Yes, sir.
Would have been that one. Wow. All right, now what about you? So outside of music, then you got to have some hobbies and stuff. What do you do outside of music?
Well, me and my girlfriend Haley live up the street in Roslyn, and we go to a lot of concerts.
Do you?
Yeah, we went to a ton of concerts this summer. I mean, I love music, local and big shows. Also, love hockey, big hockey guy. I play adult league hockey. In fact, I have a game tonight at Kettler.
Wow!
At like 11 p.m. tonight. It's late.
Wow!
Late tilt, but I love hockey.
And this isn't roller hockey. We're talking ice hockey.
This is ice hockey. Yeah, I played when I was growing up. Played at JMU, and still trying to keep it going. Needless to say, I'm horribly out of shape now, so it's a little tougher. But
you seem pretty trim to me, man.
Thanks,
you don't look terrible.
It's like riding a bike. Skate on ice. It's way more humiliating if you mess up.
When you mess up, I got it. All right, and like shows or other. There's a little bit of ice hockey and some going to see concerts and anything else. What else? Like?
Trying to think here. Traveling. Love to travel. I like getting out of town whenever I can. In fact, we were talking, Haley and I just got back from Ireland. I was there for 9 days.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I loved it.
Where in Ireland did you go?
We started in Dublin and rented a car and drove around the country, which is terrifying, by the way. Driving on the other side of the road, it was terrifying.
Oh, because they were driving the opposite side.
The roads are so narrow there. I'm like, how can this be okay? But we stayed in Cork.
Wait, who drove? Did you or Haley?
We switched off, but
okay.
You felt safer in the driver's seat because everything's backwards, so you're just like.
You want to be in control.
But it was fantastic. My first time in Europe, I had a blast.
Wow, first time! Congratulations on making it to Europe for your first time, man. Holy smokes! All right, now what about funniest moment that comes to mind about you in performing now?
Like a funny incident? Or...
Sure, that's good. Yeah.
Okay, there's a few, but the one that always comes to mind when people ask about embarrassing moments was I was playing with this high school band I was mentioning.
Okay.
In front of the whole school, we had this place called the Commons, which was like the middle of the school, and we were playing, and the whole school was watching, and I was jumping around, playing bass, and my strap broke, and my bass just fell to the floor.
Oh my God.
In the middle of the song, and I was just like,
and did it break too,
No, it didn't break, thank God.
Oh, that's
but I just had to scoop it up and strap it back on, and
yep.
Yeah.
Hopefully nobody saw that.
Nobody,
but everybody did.
Since then I got the locks, so the straps.
Right, yeah, strap locks. By the way, public service announcement for any guitar players: make sure you have strap locks.
It's good advice.
A best practice. Nice. Courtesy of Chris Cassaday's amazing moment from performing. That's all right. So tell us a story about a time you tried and failed.
Tried and failed. Oh boy. One time I tried to cover a Bruno Mars song and just absolutely failed.
Oh, which one? Do you remember?
It was I should have bought you flowers. That was a while ago though.
Okay, wait a minute. One moment, just for the record. How does it go one more time?
I should have bought you flowers. Yeah, see, that's exactly why I tried and failed right there. That was a long time ago. A lot of people, I don't even think Haley knows about that, but it was at an open mic, and I was like, I don't think go for it, and it didn't go well.
Didn't go well. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Now, and what do you have in your music, aside from Bruno Mars now, what do you have in your music collection that might surprise us?
I love doing mashups of songs. I got a lot of Dave Matthews in there. I do this Dave Matthews song, Jimmy thing, and I mash it up with For What It's Worth by Buffalo Springfield. In addition to old songs like Buffalo Springfield, I'll do newer rap songs. Hold On, We're Going Home by Drake. I got a lot of reggae in my repertoire. Love reggae music.
Nice.
A lot of Sublime in there, stuff of that nature. I also do a mean Lose Yourself by Eminem. At every show.
Oh my God.
If the crowd's kind of dying down, I'll just do the dun 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 dun, and I'll just be like, look, and that's one of the biggest surprises in the set.
That's so funny. And so these are when you're playing 2 or 3 hour sets, just you and your guitar, you're tossing these covers into.
Yeah.
You have anything that you don't cover that's in your music collection that you're a fan of, but you don't necessarily cover, or do you really play it all?
I try to play it all. My set list is always super diverse. I try to surprise you with the next song. It could be anything. You never know.
Yeah, that's amazing. I can't wait to catch another one of these shows, man. Do you have any rules that you always end up breaking that you set for yourself?
Not drinking the night before a big show.
And is that because of peer pressure, or just because a beer sounds good, or
little bit of both? Yeah. Also, going to bed on time. You gotta go to bed on time. No.
All right, so I'm not going to drink, and I'm going to go to bed on time, and I'm not going to be hungover for the show. Except that might happen.
Yeah, you never know, but it can affect you big time. I've learned the hard way, and I'm always like, now don't do it, and then I just
right, and then it happens again. Oh, that's really funny. What about? So now one of my favorite questions to ask. Actually, I'm gonna do this one in 2 parts. What is the best piece of advice you have ever gotten from someone?
Best piece of advice I've ever gotten.
And this can be in general. It doesn't have to be music.
Best piece of advice I've ever gotten from someone was Dave Matthews, who said in an interview, he said, play for anyone you can, anywhere you can, at any time. You never know who's going to hear you.
That's amazing. And is there a story that comes to mind as to someone you've ended up playing for that was a surprise?
Well, the way I started getting all these gigs was I went to an open mic on a Monday night out in Sterling, and a promoter guy by the name of Dave Mascatello heard me and started booking me at pubs and restaurants, and that's how I started booking these big gigs, was through him. And I just happened to be at that open mic at that night, and he heard me, and now I'm paid gigs on the way. You never know what's going to happen or who's going to be there.
That's amazing. And do you now? are you entirely a musician? Do you have other jobs, like part-time jobs
By
as well?
day, I am a financial planning administrator at a wealth management firm, and then by night,
Fantastic.
I'm a singer-songwriter.
See, and I love it because that, and you know, we sometimes we kind of, I don't want to say joke about it, but sometimes I feel like there's this conception that, oh well, no, I do have a day job. But what's amazing is that so many folks in the DC region that a lot of folks have that same story. They work during the day and then they play shows at night, and they really are incredible at both of them, which is it's amazing to see. So that's awesome, man.
Thanks, man.
All right, so now what's one piece of advice you would offer?
Practice makes perfect. This is what I always say. My bandmates hate me because I'm all about practicing. I'm like,
So say more on that. What does that mean?
I mean, just practice as much as you can. You can never practice too much in my mind. There's nothing wrong with being overly prepared for your shows.
So what does that look like in you? Does that mean you play with the band, but then you go home and play for 2 more hours?
You gotta, like, in a band particularly, you gotta practice on your own, not just band practice.
Yeah.
You know, working on your own, so when you get together with the group, everybody's done their part, you know.
And when you practice, is there a certain, like, do you break down the parts? Like, do you play one segment at a time over and over again until you nail that one perfectly? Do you break it up, or?
It's usually like I'll listen to the whole song if it's
Okay.
a cover, and then I'll just try to play the whole song. And if I get stuck at a part, I'll fast forward to that part, learn it, etc., etc.
And then rewind that one part until you can play that, and then you play it all the way through.
Exactly.
Wow, that's amazing. All right. Now, for those folks who are interested in learning more about you and the cool things happening, where do they go?
Well, you can check me out on Facebook, facebook.com/Chris Cassaday Music. It's got all my info, all my shows, all social media for that matter. Instagram at Chris Cassaday Music, Twitter.